First of all, I want to give you the outline of the course, and then I will give you the introduction about the ergonomics and its possible benefits. Later in the lectures, I will take up the topic-wise discussion, which are the subtopics of the ergonomics. Either it is a human physiology of work, or it is a workplace design, or it is a effect control of the vibration, etc. So now, first of all, I will take up with the introduction about the course MEE6850. This is the course code given by the department. If you see over here, this is MEE6580. Now, this is a reference for your course that is called as Advanced Ergonomics or Ergonomics for MTech students. In this course, we have certain objectives. Every course has a plan based on its syllabus, content, course objectives, course outcomes, which are the requirement of nowadays object-oriented study, where or object-oriented education, OEE. So in this, we have certain objectives. First of all, increase in the awareness of need for a role of ergonomic health. We are looking about the increase in the awareness of the need of the role of ergonomics in occupational health. So, objectives. Second is to obtain the knowledge in the application of ergonomic principles. So first is the concern about what is the need, what is the requirement of ergonomics. So requirement of ergonomics depend upon when we human interact with the machine, human interact with the environment, or machine interacts with the human, or machine interacts with the environment, or environment interacts with the human, or environment interacts with the machine. So there are some increase in the awareness of ergonomics in the occupational health, because occupational health is a very important factor. In occupational health, most of the workers are concerned about their health problem, and we have to sometimes pay for it. Huge amount of insurance claim by the workers. So the concern of the health of the workers. So in case of industrial concern, there is one thing which they pay against the injuries, which they pay against the discomfort, which they pay against the overloading over the workers. Or second is, if the worker get injured or there is more absenteeism, there will be loss of work days, there will be loss of working hours, there will be loss of a skill if the worker takes a gap of long days due to the health problem. So first is the concern about the need of ergonomics in occupational health. We are talking about occupational because we are being mechanical engineers, so our more concern is towards occupational tasks. Rather, ergonomics is a need of ours, starting from your every day-to-day life to any tedious industrial applications, or applications in space, or applications in aircraft, or whatever it is. So first thing is the requirement. Second thing is to obtain the knowledge in the application of ergonomics principles to design of industrial workplace and prevention of occupational injuries. So ergonomics is not only for occupation, it is for every day-to-day life. However, being industrial engineer, being mechanical engineer, our more concern is prevention of occupational injury. So first of all, we have to learn the principles. We should be, after from the course, our objective is to impart the knowledge of the basic principles of ergonomics, basic applications of ergonomics principles, so that it can be used for workplace design, or tools design, or task design that results in the prevention of occupational injury. Third is to understand the breadth of the scope of ergonomics, occupational, how far we can go with the help of the subject. So that is important as well. Now, topics which we will cover here, all these things I will provide as a Word or PDF form on the classroom page as your course content, course objectives, and course outcome. So, but briefly, I want to discuss over here. Topics which we will cover: what is ergonomics, introduction to human physiology related to occupational tasks, because here we are fitting everything, man, machine to sorry, machine to human, machine to environment, human to machine, human to environment, environment to machine, or environment to human. So anything can affect either way. Machine can affect human performance, machine can affect environment, human can affect machine performance, human can affect environment. This is the case when machine is having some problems, the human will be affected. Human having problem or low skills, machine performance will be affected. Human is altering the environment, so or affecting the environment is, or environment is so tedious to work for the machine. Suppose machine is not able to work in the sub-zero temperature, or environment is so hard that the human is not able to work. So these are the ways where the requirement of human physiology or human psychology is very important. So first of all, after the introduction to the ergonomics, we will deal with the human physiology related to occupational tasks. Then there are certain methods and techniques for evaluation of, then we will learn certain methods for evaluation of stress and strain related to occupational tasks. When you are doing a task, you are doing a normal exercise, you are doing a normal work, you are getting fatigued. And you are fatigued because your body is getting strained. And strain is due to the load over the body. So that strain can be of mental strain, it can be of static strain, it can be a dynamic strain. For example, rickshaw puller, he is having a lot of work to do because he is spending a lot of energy for pulling the rickshaw or the trolley or the any other car. So in that case, his oxygen consumption, oxygen taking capability, all will be affected. Heart rate, body, physiology. So body will be strained, and because of those strains, the stresses will develop in the body, and that measurement of a stress and strain is basically work evaluation in ergonomics. So work evaluation is the primary concern, because if you evaluate what is affecting your performance, then only you can uh, understand the level of stress, then you can understand the level of severity of the problem, then you can take the steps to modify the condition. So either designing the user interface or changing the work environment or changing the task or changing the way the work is done, we can do it once we know the level of stress or strain over the human body. Then the same thing is for manual material handling tasks, because in industrial environment most of the tasks are manual material handling or lifting task. And lifting task is going to affect your back, your lower back. And lower back injury is one of the, or maybe the second highest reason cause for the disability in human in the world. Because lower back strain is going to make the person unable to perform most of the tasks. So the reason for disability is lower back pain is second most highest in the world. Then design of workplace so that it will create lesser strain, lesser stress, and more comfortable work. Examples are like postman sorting out the envelopes. So if you don't have the proper uh, bins around his workspace, then his hands will be affected. So we take the advantage of the moment of or the momentum of the hands, or advantage of the movements within the normal working area of the human hands, so that bins will be so close that the person may not be more strained. Design of displays and control. In ergonomics, displays and control have a very major role. If displays and controls are not properly designed or properly compatible with the human. Here the word compatibility is very important because in ergonomics is nothing but the compatibility between man, machine and environment. So basically all we are doing in the ergonomics is to improve the compatibility between man, machine and environment. This is compatibility is very important term for human, machine and environment. Between all these three, the compatibility has to be achieved as far as possible. And the compatibility means lower error, lesser reaction time and lower level of discomfort. So basically, you have to achieve these three parameters in a lower trend so that you can have more compatibility. That is the main important point, which is the requirement of any design of displays and control, either the displays and control of the powerhouse or displays and control of the cockpit of the aircraft, where you see a huge number of operating buttons and huge type of control displays, which you have to understand and you have to focus on them at a time, and you have to take care of all those with the compatible way of working. So either you can fit the job to the human or human to the job. Okay, so now displays and controls. Then we have hand tool design, maybe a drill machine or wood cutting machine, maybe a chipper. If you see the hands of stone cutters, the persons working in a stone industry, you can feel the problems with their fingers, and the fingers become stiff. Their numbness comes over there. The whiteness comes over there with respect to uh, the cold weather, or their sensing ability goes down. So these are problems with respect to the hand tool design. Effect of environmental stresses. There are many environmental stresses, however, few are very important, like illumination, noise, heat, and vibration. Illumination is very important if you are doing a precision task. For example, quality control department you are working. You are working on a very precise metal cutting operation. Noise. If you stand on the railway station, sometimes you cannot talk with each other. So the persons working in the control room of the railway station, if he is not insulated, he cannot interact with other employees. Heat and vibration. Vibrating environment also affect your performance. Heat or rather we should not write heat, it may be the temperature that affects, because sometimes in cold conditions situation is different, in hot conditions the situation is different. Now what we expect out of this course is, after completing, you must define what is ergonomics and its principles. You should understand the basic physiology of the human body, which are required for assessing the ergonomics problem or the level of stress or strain with respect to the tool, task or workplace. These three parameters are very important. Um, Tools, task, workplace. These are very important three things which requires redesign. We should know how to create a pragmatic solution for the design of tools, workplace, and tasks. We should describe the essential elements of effective ergonomics in industry, effective and efficient way of using the facilities, and low risk of WMSDs. Sometimes there is a fear with the employers that if they implement ergonomics principles, they are going to add more cost to the human comfort than to the productivity. So we should have a kind of options to justify that how you can uh, get the advantage of uh, um, ergonomics for the working environment. It is not only adding to the cost, it is adding to the productivity, it is adding to the change, it is adding to the quality of the work, it is adding to the lesser cost to the skill, it is reducing the insurance claim. So these are benefits which are related to the cost benefit analysis what we see. Now I'm starting with the term what is called as ergonomics. Um, with the history, as you have learned in industrial engineering, scientific management of F.W. Taylor's, uh, Gilbreth's, where they have optimized the task for improving the efficiency of the task. So, and later on, you came to the Hawthorne study where Alton Myers did an experiment in Western Electrics and companies where they wanted to see the effect of one parameter after controlling the other parameters in the experiment, like illumination and other things, group design, etc., to see the productivity. But later on, they came to understand that it is very difficult to manage uh, or to optimize to see the effect of only one parameter and keeping the other factors affecting the human performance in control situation, because control situation is not going to create the real working environment. So the experiment had many failures, but it is an historic experiment to learn about the importance of the human performance. That later on resulted in socio-technical system theory. System theory where person, machine, environment is considered as a system, and we could see the effects of one factor on the other and other factor on the first one, like that. Then human performance psychology. The human psychology was taking a lead, and some industries were trying to implement the improvements based on human understanding and operation research. So all these things led to improvement in what led to the need of what is called as this resulted in the need of ergonomics. Ergonomics was very early in 1857 was started in Poland, but did not get any uh, what we say uh, any recognition. But later on in 1940s or 1949, the name was reinvented by Morrell in 1949, despite objections that people would confuse it with economics. Even now, people get confused with economics and agronomics also, which is in agriculture as an agriculture economics. So that was confusion, but then also all the Europeans agreed to have this term, which is ergo means human and norms means the working laws. So this science of work, which is ergonomics, was considered as a well-defined term. So in most of the Europe, ergonomics is concerned with the occupation, scientific way of working. Uh, Sometimes we see the term human factors or human factors engineering, which is very much common in USA or in Northern America. So in Northern America, this term is used, which is more towards human psychology. So they were very much, although both are synonym to each other, but this term is very much associated with the cognitive performance or cognitive effects, which later on results in human physiological performance or physiological effects. So Ergonomics were very much originated with the biological sciences. Human factors were very much originated with the psychology or cognitive sciences. So, but both had the main concern of improving the performance, the work performance with reduced discomfort. So that would result in the lesser number of injuries to the workplace. These are some of the general features of a good job design, like optimum working load, minimum role ambiguities. Each worker has a clearly defined set responsibilities. If you have these kind of things implemented in the job, you would have a better result. Minimum role conflict. There is a clear relationship between individuals' roles, how they are rewarded and their co-workers' expectations. Support from colleague and management. Social content. Interaction with others is built into the design of the job and execution of the basic work function. If you have a class, let me remind at 10:30. Okay, if I forget to do that. So these are the basic conditions for or basic features of a good job in general. Now, what is the contribution of modern ergonomics in system design? There are many definitions to ergonomics as well, which will come, I'll show in the next slide. This is the standard format of describing human-machine system. We are describing a specific machine system where human and machine are interacting. Then identification, classification, and resolution of design issues involving human components. In the earlier days, machine was designed, but it was not thought to be the comfort of the human. For example, wheels of the car. Wheels of the cart was made up of wood. There was no concern of human. It is a cart. It is transporting the load. It is transporting human with the animals attached to it, and that was pulling the load. But there was so many jerks. Road was not, conditions were not good, and the wheel had no space for absorbing the vibrations. So human was at a higher discomfort when traveling by the car. But later on, the design issues involving human components has reduced the problem. They had air-filled tires in it. They had shockers to absorb the vibration, and the human would be on the comfort level and could travel longer distance. So it is not only adding the cost to the system, but also getting the higher performance. Then task and human machine interaction analysis. In task analysis, we can obtain uh, we can what we say split the task into small elements, and then we can understand that which component of the task is going to contribute for the more stress. We can take on that task and we can design that element of the task. The specifications of the system design, very important, because sometimes we have to go for taking the help from standards. There are many ergonomic standards also available, which I'll show you a specific list. Identification of core trends in human and biological sciences and their implementation of system design. Any science, any engineering is a dynamic process. As we learn more about the human body, the more changes comes into action. As we learn more about human psychology, more changes comes into action. So we have to understand the biological and psychological issues uh, with the change of the knowledge we can implement it. Generation of new concept of design and analysis of human machine systems. Sometimes you have system approach, then you have optimization theories, then you have the statistical principles. So as the concept comes, you implement them for the for taking the advantage in the design. Evaluation of socio-technical implementation of the design option, where society, environment, all is considered as a system part of the working. This I have already explained to you. This is ergonomics means science of work or means law, working laws. So this is nomos means natural laws, ergonomics means work, the capability in relation to work design. This is nothing but interaction of human and other elements of the system to optimize human well-being and overall performance. We are not only concerned with human well-being, we are also concerned with the performance and to reduce the fear of losing the skill. I'm going to introduce you with some of the definitions of the ergonomics. The first one is scientific study of the relationship between man and his working environment. In this sense, the term environment is to cover not only the ambient environment, temperature, humidity, air, velocity, in which it may also be your interaction with the other people, other peers, other working machines, uh, other surrounding construction. Everything is considered as an environment, which may work, but also his tools and materials, his method of work and organization of work, either as an individual or within a working group. All these are related to the nature of man himself, to his abilities. This point is very important. All these things, tools, designs, material, environment, working conditions, other organization conditions, all must be in related to the nature of man himself. So either what we say, fitting man or human to the machine or job was an earlier concept, but now we are moving towards fitting job or machine to the human. So in this case, we are achieving more because we are designing all these things in relation to the human's abilities, capacities, and limitations. So we have to consider those things in work design. Another definition, Grandians. The ergonomics is a study of man behavior in relation to his work. The object of this research is man at work in relation to his spatial environment. The most important uh, definition of ergonomics, fitting the task to the man rather than fitting the man to the man. This is the most important part of the definition. It is very simplest definition of the ergonomics. We can say that ergonomics is interdisciplinary. It bases its theory of psychology, physiology, anthropometry, and various aspects of engineering and physics as well. Other definitions is the study of how humans accomplish work-related tasks in context of human-machine system operation behavior and non-behavioral variable effects that accomplish. More or less, most of the definitions cover the same thing, which is fitting the job to the man. This is very much accepted in uh, in the field of engineering, that ergonomics discovers and applies information about human behavior, abilities, limitations, and other characteristics to the design of tool, machines, job, and environment for productive, safe, comfortable, and effective human work. This is the very important definitions for applied sciences for engineering graduates. that we should know that what we have to do and what we have to achieve. So it means that what you have to do is you have to design the tools, machine, task, job, environment with respect to the human behavior, abilities, limitations, and other characteristics. For example, if you don't have a space to work underneath the car, you cannot repair the, the bottom elements of the car. If you don't have a space uh, uh, to put your leg comfortably on the ladder, it is so thin, then you cannot go up to repair anything on the electric pole. So the things have to be designed according to the human ability. There must be sufficient space for or sufficient compatibility. Here, the word we can say that you have to achieve the compatibility between uh, these two abilities, and human abilities and the task. So compatibility is important. The example of compatibility is that if you have a pen size very high or very thin, you are not comfortable to work or to write. The pen size is uh, an optimum size. The word optimum is there, which you can work comfortably. If the size of the copy in exam copy, what we see if we have a right hand um, um, what you call a kind of space attachment on the seat. But if your exam copy is uh, layout is uh, 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 it's not what you call a slide lateral layout. So the layout is not fitting the space working space over there in exam. If that is not fitting, it is not compatible. If it is a portrait size, if the copy was portrait size, then it could fit over the work over the space provided with your chair. So sometimes its compatibility is missing. So we can see small things around our life um, which can give us a kind of awareness. Basically, ergonomics is doing nothing but changing your view of looking things, changing your view on looking the human interaction with the task, machine, tools, job, and environment. So when you go to the exam, you see that the copy is layout uh, is flat layout, but the space provided over there is a kind of portrait size. So you cannot feel comfortable. Half of the copy lays hanging over one of the side, and you are writing over that. So this is incompatibility. So these are the things. For example, the newspaper. Uh, the newspaper. Sometimes you have very big newspaper. You hold it in hand and you are not able to read it. If the size of the newspaper is some comfortable size, you can read it uh, quickly. But there may be some reasons why the newspaper is made so big. Because sometimes people don't like to read everything, they just want to explore the things in a lower duration of the time. Anyway, so these are some of the compatibility and incompatibility issues have to be dealt with ergonomics. Ergonomics is a branch of science which seeks to turn human-machine antagonism into human-machine synergy. So you have to improve the synergy between human and machine. You see this? This is a whole part of human side. This is a whole part of machine side. Your senses sense display. Your brain processes it and reacts accordingly. If some fire comes, your hand moves backwards. So this is a kind of feedback system over there. What you see, what you process, and how you react. So this is on the machine, you have displays and controls. So according to displays, you have to react and you have to perform. So this is what we call a system of human-machine interaction. The basic objectives of ergonomics to enhance the effectiveness and efficiency with work and other activities carried out, such as increase convenience of use, reduce errors, increase productivity, reduce reaction time, uh, high performance, very low number of injuries, reduce. So we can assess any system, existing one and the modified one. You see the water bottles nowadays they have a kind of space where you can grab it and it may not slip out of your hand because the mid portion is of lesser diameter than the upper and lower portion. So you can have a proper grip over it. To enhance increased comfort, greater user acceptance, increased job satisfaction, and improved quality of life. Basically, we are improving the quality of life over here with the help of this is what I've already explained to you that it is nothing but human machine environment interaction. Sometimes human affects the machine performance, sometimes human affects the environment, sometimes machine affects the human, sometimes machine affects the environment, or environment affects the human, or environment affects the machine. So that way basic interaction happens, and based on this interaction, we have to learn the difficulties, we have to learn the errors, we have to learn the discomfort, and then we try to improve the task design. I think we are very close to 10:30. From the next one onwards, I will start from this point. This is the basic plan of the course, which I will upload on the classroom page. There are some two textbooks. I may share these books by a link to you. These are some of the online courses. If you are interested, you can explore them for enhancing your knowledge. Um, this is a kind of relationship of your course of outcomes with respect to the program outcome. Program is your MTech industrial and production engineering. So the objectives of the program had to be mapped with the course outcomes. So the program outcomes and course outcomes are mapped here for your understanding. And this is a distribution. This is an what I can say a older version of assignment, midterm, etc. But this we are not sure whether it will be followed or not, depending upon your offline or online pattern of the study. This may change. So now this is all from my side.